Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Just a small update why I wasn't able to make Yu-Gi-Oh videos for the last, I would say, about 3 weeks. This is my mic I usually have. Well, it broke. So just saying, this is a Rode Go mic. Do not buy these. They're way expensive for something that breaks as easy as this. Especially since I don't bring out my camera at all. I literally only have it for generally this. I don't throw my mics usually, don't worry, this one isn't going to break as quickly. So, that being said, this video is going to be going over the new Darklord support cards. So, of course I read over the cards, and then I give my thoughts at the end. With that being said, let's jump right into the video. Alright, we'll get through these all quickly so we can get over to my final thoughts on it. So, first card is Darklord of Delight. It's a level 4 Dark Fairy effect monster, 0 attack, 16 defense. During the main phase, you can quick effect. Immediately after this effect resolves, troop zone 1 fairy monster face up. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you make all face up monsters your opponent currently controls lose 500 attack and defense for each fairy monster on the field until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Darklord of Delight once per turn. So this card, for, you would want to see like synergies within Darklords. Sure, tributing during your opponent's turn, it means they could be setting up monsters, you tribute for Morningstar, and then Morningstar gets a summon up to the amount of monsters your opponent controls. But the monsters you summon don't serve as disruptions, and the monster you do tribute for this does not serve as some form of disruption. This maybe get played in other cheesy things for other fairy decks. It's not a bad card, but it's definitely not what we wanted. Next card is Darklord of Pleasure. This is a level 4 Dark Fairy effect, 16-0. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can activate this effect. You cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except fairy monsters. Also, take 2 Darklord monsters with different levels from your hand or deck except Darklord of Pleasure. Special summon one of them to your opponent's field. If you do, add the other to your hand. So, my thoughts on this one, you may say, oh, summoning it is unnecessary. If you can remove that from your opponent's field before they can take advantage of the monster you give them, it honestly isn't bad. Again, Darklord SUPERBIA is a card that pretty much says summon and get another thing. So you get that card free, so it's free link material. Since it's rank 8, it can be rank material. And just putting that on your opponent's field and then removing it by your own means, and then being able to have the free extra card when you go reviving cards in this deck honestly isn't bad. They could have went bonkers with this card. They didn't. They tried to make something super balanced. The ad is not the most necessary thing in the world, especially since it's a monster ad. You definitely need spell and trap access, probably most desperately, because you need Darklord Contact to do anything with this deck. But this card, honestly, pretty good. I can't complain too much about it. I kind of like its design. It definitely has its flaws. It could definitely have just been better, but, whatever. Next card is Darklord Nurgle. It is a level 8 Dark Fairy effect, 27-25. You can only special summon 1 Darklord Nurgles once per turn. If your fairy monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Quick effect, you can pay 1,000 life points to target 1 Darklord spell trap in your graveyard, apply that target's effect, then shuffle that target into the deck. You can only use this effect of Darklord Nurgle once per turn. This card is hot cheeks. There's way better cards. Again, the best one's IXCHEL. Of course, the copy ones, you kind of want to have them on field. You want to have generally different names, so you'll be able to activate multiple spells and traps during your opponent's turn to disrupt them. But this card sucks. It doesn't offer you advantage in any way. I know a lot of them are pretty bad card advantage because it requires discarding, but of course, hopefully the cards you discard you'll be able to shuffle back to reactivate. But this card doesn't really offer anything. No discard for effect for some reason. Like, I know we have a bunch of bad ones, but like, there's a really simple thing. Discard this card, search a Darklord spell and trap. Ooh, that's something that would really been nice. Or discard Darklord and another card, search multiple spells and traps. I don't know. You know, something like that, search spell and traps. This card just offers nothing. Level 8, okay. This next card, very cool. How effective it is. Lucifer, Darklord of the Morning Star. Level 12 Dark Fairy effect with 4,000. It takes 3 Dark Fairy monsters to summon. Your opponent cannot target fairy monsters you control with card effects. You can only use one of the following effects of this card once per turn, and only once that turn. If this card is fusion summoned using Darklord Morning Star as material, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. Okay. And during your main phase, quick effect, you can pay 1,000 life points, special fairy from your hand to grave and defense. Honestly, not bad. It has a very good extender effect, but this card is more of a final boss than it really is an extender for the archetype. The Link is the extender, definitely not this. This is pretty hard to make, material-wise. It's a lot of card advantage, 3 Dark Fairies, you know. Paying 1,000 special summon fairy really isn't that bad. Using Darklord Morningstar, you have to play it in your deck. Honestly, it sees more viability with the support, but do you really want to play it? That's still a question you can honestly ask yourself. This card isn't that bad, but it would definitely need a good fusion card to really help make this card better, which, spoiler, it does not get a good fusion card. Next card is Rebellious Darklord. It's a normal trap. Yes, a slow fusion card at that. Send 1 Darklord monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Fusion summon 1 Dark Fusion monster from your X deck using monsters you control, hand or field, as fusion material. Then you gain life points equal to the attack of the monsters sent to the graveyard to activate this card. You can only activate 1 of this card's names per turn. Oh geez, this is horrible card advantage. You have to send a Darklord. You won't be able to use that card as fusion material. Use 3 from your hand or field. You could go on neg 4. I know Darklords, I play them. So, if you discard this card with something, it is in the grave, you have a Darklord on field, you can say, oh, I'm going to pay 1,000, activate it, and you only have to do the effect. You don't have to pay the cost of sending a card. 3 cards is still a lot of cards. When you tell someone, hey, lose 3 cards, it must be something damn good. It must be something really good, and this fusion is definitely not good enough. I do like the kind of genericness of this fusion spell, though. It says fusion summon 1 Dark Fusion monster. So any Dark Fusion that's generic. Of course, for example, we're going to bring up the Predaplant ones. Starving Venom Fusion and Predaplant Trivo something. Those take a lot of material. 3 on field and 2 on field, except tokens. Starving Venom is probably easiest to make. It doesn't really provide too much disruption. But the Predaplant Trigo something, that's actually disruption. It's a negation for extra deck cards, I'm pretty sure. If I remember the effect correctly. And honestly, using free monsters for that, especially if the monsters in question are going to be like, you know, destroyed or lost off field, you can kind of use this in a chain, get them off the field and summon this big monster that has a very good effect. So I would say the fusion's probably less likely to be played, but we could definitely see this getting played maybe as a one-of, in playing Predaplant Trigo something, to, you know, utilize this fusion spell. With that being said, let's get my whole thoughts out. Overall, how was this support? Does it make the deck amazing as hell? Is it Is it bad? There's some pretty sucky cards. Delight, Darklord of Delight isn't that great for actual Darklords. Pleasure is okay. Nurgle is just goddamn awful. I don't know why you would actually consider playing that. I'd rather play all the other ones for different names. I'd rather play the level 9. That's better. The only thing with Nurgle is it's level 8, so if you use a Superbia to revive it, you can make a rank 8 play, but do you really want to do that? To play Nurgle, the worst card, probably the biggest brick in hand. Fusion did not do enough, and Fusion card to make it did not do much to help ease the card advantage of Fusion summoning. Overall, I am pretty disappointed with this support. I am a fan of Darklord, so if you can make Darklords playable at a somewhat reasonable level where it can, I don't know, possibly bubble with it, I would be very happy. This is not that support. This needed a lot more changes, a lot more consistency, a lot more help in card advantage wise. It does have a good amount of power plays still, so it can actually disrupt pretty well with the trap cards they already have. But they needed like some really good cards to help this deck out, and these cards were not really the ones to do it. I kind of do like the fusion spell, and the fact that it is technically generic for Dark Lords. You can go into any Dark Fusion. That's honestly kind of nice. You can probably do something cute with that. But Dark Lords have been getting a few cards. They've gotten a Link Monster. They've gotten one trap in Flames of Destruction that helps with the life points and is a form of effect negation. Honestly, a lot of these cards are really good. A lot of the spells and traps from the first, the first wave, Destiny Soldiers, it did provide a lot, spell and trap wise. Monster wise, it didn't do much, so it kind of just needed to heavily focus on that, which they did focus mostly on monsters. There's 4 monsters, but there's only one that I would really consider playing. Again, it does have a nice level, so you can now play Condemned Witch. You can search the forbidden spells when you summon for Condemned Witch, and then you'll be able to tag out into Pleasure and summon, get a search during your opponent's turn, which putting a monster on their field during their turn isn't that great, but it means they can't really attack with it, because you can just put it in defense and you're all good there. But it's still link material. But putting a SUPERBIA on opponent's field really isn't that bad, in my opinion. Could be bad for certain matchups, but Condemned Witch is now something that could be thrown in. And I do have to admit, the support did help fill up what this deck needed. There is sometimes problems with decks where it's like, what do I fill this deck with? I could just blast a bunch of hand traps, but they don't actually work with it, it now feels like a complete deck. You can fill it up with a bunch of cards, or you can not fill it up with a bunch of cards and still play a bunch of hand traps. The deck does feel a bit more completed, as a sense that your deck building, you have a lot more options, a lot more things to play within it. But still, the cards you actually got weren't super impressive in helping you make a very good build. That's my thoughts on this archetype. I really like Dark Lords, but the support wasn't that great. But thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, I'll be having content out a bit more. I have my mic now, so I can record videos. So I should be back to 2 a week, at least. I may get kind of happy and make 3. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you liked and enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, goodbye.